in color, the continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Ryan O'Neill as Rodney Harrington, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson, Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington, Patricia Morrow as Rita Harrington, James Douglas as Stephen Cord.
Jack Chandler is a man with a mission. He wants to return young Rachel Wells to his world, the isolated world of his Hastings Valley farm. He knows that he must tread lightly. He must find out the nature of the enemy. The enemy? Men like Elliot Carson.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Carson? Yeah? I'm Mr. Chandler, Rachel Wells' uncle. Oh, what can I do for you, Mr. Chandler? Well, nothing really. I just saw the light. Thought you wouldn't mind if I stepped in for a minute or so. Well, to tell you the truth, I'm rather pressed for time right now, Mr. Chandler. I've been reading your editorials ever since you took the paper over from Matt Swain. They're real good, that's a fact. Thank you, thank you. You got a terrific way of putting words together. I can't ever put more than 3 or 4 in a row without getting them all bollocksed up somehow. I did have something I wanted to say to you, Mr. Carson. Not about the paper, about your daughter. About my daughter? What about my daughter? Well, only that I feel real sorry, but what you must be going through right now, I guess I know how you must feel losing her and all. You know, I'm only an uncle by marriage to Rachel, but if she ever up and disappeared off the face of the earth like that, I guess I know it'd make me sick inside. Yeah, well, thank you very much for your concern, Mr. Chandler. About that bracelet Rachel found. It's a shame nobody knows for sure that it belonged to the girl. Oh, I know for sure. You see, I gave it to her. It's one of a kind. Oh? I didn't know that. That kind of puts a different light on things, don't it? Why, what do you mean? I mean, it makes it pretty important. Well, it is important. I didn't know that. I kind of figured it was just a regular dime store bracelet. One of a kind, huh? That's right, it's one of a kind. Why, were you with Rachel when she found it? No, I wasn't. I've never even seen it. Rachel told me about it. Must be some doodad, though, way she didn't want to let go of it. You know, little Rachel, she never had much in the way of fancy things. And I guess when she found that bracelet, all shiny and bright like, she just didn't want to let go. Fear she'd never get hold of anything that pretty again. How long have you lived in Hastings Valley? I always wanted to get a few nice things for Rachel. But you know how it is when a man's trying to get along, scratching a living out of a little place like ours. Well, I better let you be. You're a pretty busy man. I guess you didn't hear me. I asked you. Oh, by the way, one more thing before I go, Mr. Carson. I want you to know for sure that whatever Rachel told you, you know, finding that bracelet, where she found it and all, it's true. Have you ever been in the Navy? Navy? Not me. Rachel gets kind of wild and temperamental sometimes, but one thing she won't never do is lie. She said she found that bracelet in the road. That's just what happened. She found it in the road. You can know that for a fact. Well, I'm sorry for blowing in like that and disturbing you, Mr. Carson. I can see that there's something about me that don't sit well with you. I could tell when you were staring at me at the courthouse. I'm sorry about that, too. I thought we might have something in common. Well, maybe we do. A young girl. Rachel? No, I was referring to my daughter, Allison. Well, Nice talking to you.
It's been almost 25 years since I first walked inside that door. 25 years of feeling that I should have wiped my shoes one more time before I stepped inside. 25 years of being afraid that the dirt that was on my hands when I was a dock worker at your mill wasn't quite washed away. You never once tried to make me feel comfortable in this house.
You didn't belong here.
That's very interesting, that I'm not good enough to be accepted in this house. But Rodney is.
He's a PEYTON.
His name is Harrington.
And you think that because of what was revealed today, Leslie Harrington has been suddenly catapulted into the aristocracy? Well, let me tell you something, Leslie. Bond Street tailoring and a daily manicure couldn't change your image to anything but what it was. Your taste and your deportment are hopelessly pedestrian. You'll always be common.
I know. It isn't going to be that easy anymore. You're in no position to toss off sarcasms.
What are you whining about, Leslie? What complaint can you possibly have with your position in life? You're a living success story. The embodiment of the American dream. You started at the bottom, climbed the ladder rung by rung to the very top.
And I had the heel of your boot ground into my face every step of the way.
What would you have done without my boots to hold on to?
Don't try to paint me as some kind of parasite.
I don't have to paint your character, Leslie. We both know what it is and what it isn't. If you've felt inferior for 25 years, it's not because of anything I've said or done. Nothing that was said in that courtroom changes one very simple fact. You are inferior.
You heaped me with indignities when I revealed that it was your daughter who killed Elizabeth Carson, and all the time it was you who committed the real crime. You were guilty of everything because of the way you manipulated that woman's life.
That woman you refer to so coldly was my daughter, Leslie. And if I must remind you, she was your wife. I should think you'd have some concern about her now. At least have the decency to act as you cared a little bit about her, instead of rattling on about what I put you through.
You'd like that, wouldn't you? If I cloistered myself and grieved over the injured reputation of my lately departed wife, that would give you some time to bury your guilt and cover up your tracks again.
You're a fool, Leslie.
Oh, I agree to that.
Catherine gave you 2 sons. Instead of prating about what I owe you, why don't you think about what you owe them?
Don't lecture me on a father's obligation to his children.
Do you even know where Norman is now? He went to the cemetery, to Catherine's grave. Whatever her faults, she was his mother.
Whatever her faults were, you created them. Whatever her errors were, you forced them. Both Rodney and Norman will understand that.
What would it take to make you forget everything, Leslie? To let things lie?
There are some things that money won't buy.
Things, yes, but very few men. What's your price? A higher salary? A better profit-sharing setup? More stock? A partnership?
No deals this time, Martin.
You're the last person I'd expect to suffer an attack of morality. Tell me, Leslie, would you like to resign from the management of the mill?
My resignation wouldn't alter anything, Martin, and you know it. We'll always be tied together by her.
I think you'd better leave, Leslie.
Gladly. I never felt comfortable in this house. And now I wonder if you ever were, or ever will be again. Somehow, instead of a castle looking down on the world, it's more like a prison. How does it feel to live in solitary confinement?
Good night, Leslie.